Wow, hello. What a room full of botanists. I'm Pete Hollingsworth. I'm a trustee of the BSBI and the director of science here at the Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh. Yeah, welcome to the Scottish Botanists Conference and welcome to the Botanics. So there's 218 people registered, I think more. 220 registered. Welcome to the other two, wherever you are. This is the biggest number we've had to date, and it's just been amazing to see these conferences grow from strength to strength year on year, and the kind of real sense of vibrancy that comes with that. And this builds on, I guess, over 180 years of the Botanical Society of Scotland, Botanical Society of Britain and Ireland, and Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh, all being connected in one way or another. But yeah, it's great to see those connections being growing, strengthening year on year. And I can see lots of old friends in the audience. Also see some new faces. So I'm just going to, for those of you who are new to the Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh, just introduce you a little bit to the venue that you're at. So the Botanic Gardens was founded in 1670. It's an old organisation, and it contains Scotland's national botanic collection, comprising the living collection, the herbarium, the library and archive. So just to tell you a little bit more about that, there's 4 gardens that make up the Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh. I am not allowed to say this in front of the horticulturists, but there's the main one, the cold one, the hot one, and the wet one. That's my technical term for them. But collectively, they've got 14,000 plant species, one of the world's great living collections. They're from about 157 different countries. The amazing herbarium, which you'll have the chance to see today, 3 million specimens, oldest one dating back to 1697. This year, we reached the target of 1 million specimens being digitized. So there's some wonderfully high resolution scans of these specimens available online. A wonderful resource and greatly enriched by the collections and the annotations of the botanical community in Scotland. That's quite right, quite right. Shall we say that? Yeah, that's Doug McKean at the bottom, the collector. Um, uh, since then, people have been much more responsible. Um, And of course, we have the library and the archives, and this is kind of a real treasure trove of the history of botany, wonderful scientific resource, and just an encouragement to everybody to use these wonderful collections. So I put this slide in to remind me now to shift to the organizational matters. And I rather like this. I was just leaving the building yesterday and just thought how calm and tranquil this all looked. Behind the scenes, I can just see Matt raising his eyes there. Behind the scenes, there has been um, uh, industrious activity. It hasn't always looked calm and tranquil, but it's been amazing to see it all come together so smoothly. So we will finish with thanks, but actually just start with some thanks for all the work that's gone in. So, what do I have to say? There's so many of us. When you have your refreshments, if you're near the refreshment stations and you've got your refreshments, move away and avoid these big queues. Building fire escape, the fire alarm is unmistakable if it goes off, and the exits are at the rear of the building and out of this door here. The toilets, back down to the corridor crossroads and turn left. Speakers, please keep to time and leave time for questions. There are some very fierce chairs who will be waving notes at you, and it will be great if we've got time for some discussions. Okay, so keeping perfectly to time, that's exactly 5 minutes. I'm now going to move on to a next topic, which is a plant strategy for Scotland. And Matt asked me just to say a few words about what this is. So it had its genesis in the Scottish Government Programme for Government in 2020. And since that very short note saying, let's have a plant strategy for Scotland, there was some development work that was led by Nature Scot with the Royal Botanic Garden Edinburgh and the various NGOs that make up Plant Link Scotland. And that led to a scoping document. I've got a copy of it here, which I'll leave on the desk if anyone wants to look at, but you can find online. And it was just the early think pieces about what this plant strategy should involve. And the group of people working on this identified, well, here are some key things that should be included in it. So Scotland's botanical assets. And actually, if I read what it said right at the beginning is, why do we need a strategy? Given the importance of plants for climate, nature and people, it's essential that Scotland's plant diversity is conserved and sustainably managed. So that's the kind of rally cry that motivates this. So the botanical assets need to be included, but also the assets of the botanical expertise, the botanists, us, you, the community. Recognising that we have important botanical data, recognising, of course, these extreme threats and pressures on the natural environment, the drivers of change, and then thinking about how the environment is financed. You know, the way that green financing works and avoiding money being channeled to the wrong places and not supporting environmental protection. And related very closely to that is ensuring that there's kind of clear policy coherence for protecting plant diversity. So 2020, then the programme for government, when this came out, it's a really bad year for launching everything. So that was the COVID times, and lots of things were delayed, including the wider national landscape. So the big international global biodiversity targets were all delayed. And it wasn't until 2022 that we got the COP15, the Global Biodiversity Framework was produced. So that was December 2022. And at the same time, a very high level Scottish biodiversity strategy was published. And there's a delivery plan. So what that means in practice is due for production anytime now, you know, hopefully in before Christmas. And the aim of the Scottish plant strategy is then to act as a bridge between the big global picture and the more general Scottish biodiversity strategy. So in the global picture, there's a thing called the GSBC, the Global Strategy for Plant Conservation, and that's mapping plant targets at the global level to the big global biodiversity framework. And we really just need to provide a bridging document that focuses on Scottish plants and has the general aim of avoiding plants falling through the cracks. And all of these moving pieces have kind of gradually settled. So over the next few months, when the Scottish Biodiversity Strategy Delivery Plan is ready, we'll be able to hone, shape, finalise the Scottish plant strategy, essentially an implementation of the global strategy for plant conservation in Scotland. And that will involve the same group of organisations, the government agencies and NGOs. And generally, I think if it's successful, it should be a document that guides the work of public bodies. It catches collective ambition, helps align activities across organisations, and ensures plants and lichens are recognisable and visible. I just put the picture up there. There's a Botanic Garden Conservation International journal which describes the global biodiversity strategy, if anybody wants to know more. And the final point to make about this is that this is a framework for strategic intent. It's not a big pot of money and a fully resourced plan. It's about aligning activities. That was the background to the Scottish Plant Strategy, and that's exactly 10 minutes. And I'm going to hand over now.